Hello and welcome to this week's angling blog. This week you join me back on the banks of the beautiful River Dane and we're in search of chub. Before we get into this week's blog, I'd just like to thank everybody that takes the time to subscribe to the channel, watches the videos, leave the videos a like, or just enjoys watching these videos every Friday at 6 o'clock when they go live. This week the channel has passed the 8,000 subscriber mark, and again, big thanks to everybody that's watched the videos, who enjoys watching them and comes back each week, leaves a comment or likes the video. Thank you very much, and hopefully there's many more videos to come. So looking forward to this week's vlog, and it's all about the excitement of going fishing when you're sat in work and you're hoping and looking out the window waiting for the weekend. I was dying to get back on that peg. I'd done so well on the week before and I couldn't wait to get out. I hope you enjoy this week's vlog. Thank you very much again for all the support you show the channel, and I'll catch us all next week. Hello and welcome to this week's angling vlog. This week you join me back on the banks of the River Dane. So at the top of the screen now you'll see a link to a recent session when we moved into this swim around about 12 o'clock, caught some nice chub and some quality dace. Conditions today would be excellent for pike fishing, overcast, dark, gloomy, but me as an angler, I always go with what I'm excited about and what's in my mind. When I think about fishing in the week, what am I thinking about? And at the moment it's Mr. Chub. I've been dying to get back in this swim since the moment I left on Saturday. So all that excitement in the week, you get to the river and it's far from ideal conditions. We've had a bit of rain in the last couple of days. The river's got that tinge of grey to it, and like all rivers in the country, none of them have passed their cleanness level, have they? And there is that smell of, what should we say, effluent about the river. So what that means is we may well not have the session that we dreamed of in the week, but we're not going to know at home, are we? So we'll quickly go over the setup and the side tray and we'll make a start. The rod for the session is my 14-foot Corum glide rod. You've seen it on all the vlogs, speaks for itself. It's been catching me days, and as you seen last week we had that beautiful trout and we've had loads of chub on it now. Team that up with a Corum axis reel. I've got 3 pound 3 ounce float fish. I've gone with a 6 number 4 dome top. I've got a bulk shot to get that bait down in the water of Dinsmore egg shot. I've gone with 1 pound 7 ounce Bay of Pearl on hook link. With the colour in the river, I would imagine we'd have got away with a 2 or 3 pound line today. I don't think it's going to make much difference. I've got 2 number 8 droppers down the line, and we're down to that trusty Camazan size 20 hook. So that's the basic setup. As I say, stick float fishing is really simple. The skill with stick float fishing comes from getting out there, repetitiveness, you know, keeping on fishing that stick float, learning how it fishes and when to hold back. That is where the skill in stick float fishing comes from time on the bank. The actual makeup and the setup is quite simple. So side tray for today, got around about 3 pints of red maggot. I've got some more in that tray there, just keeping them dry and separated. Around about 1.5 pints of the garlic hemp from Cheshire Particle. Hopefully with the bit of colour in the river, that smell might make a bit of difference today. And then we just got a few bits and pieces that we need, obviously some weight and hook link. I do think we're dealing with a river that is on a slow rise. It's slowly beginning to rise from the rain that we've had yesterday and overnight. So the colour is building in the river, not dropping out like last time, but I don't think there's too much pace on the river that those chub and dace might not be in the flow. I don't think it's too fast that they're going to be down this margin yet. So I'm going to begin by just targeting those fish in the area where I left them on that recent session. So a bit of hemp, not too much, and maggot wise, just going to put it there. As I say, all our bites come downstream last week. The extra colour may mean we can draw them closer to us, but that'll remain to be seen. Just keep that bait going in. I am confident today that we will get a bite. I don't know whether it'll be as good as last week, because obviously rivers change from week to week, but it doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to look when I left the house. So as regulars to the channel will know, the first thing I normally talk about when I'm on the river is how beautiful they are, and it's such a shame today when you turn up and the first thing you smell is sewage. I do recognise that obviously rivers have a part to play in the sewage system, but obviously them levels are set at a standard that's safe for humans coming into the water and for wildlife. And you know, it's just such a shame to turn up to the river and the first thing you notice is that smell. And it'll be interesting today, because me personally, I don't think today there's no reason why we shouldn't catch on this river today. You know, it's got a bit of extra pace and a bit of extra colour. The colour is a weird grey colour, but it's not unfishable, and I would expect to get bites. So it'll be interesting today to see how the fishing goes, because sat next to a river that smells of poo doesn't necessarily fill you with excitement about what the fish are feeling beneath the water. And there we go, it's taken probably 40 minutes of trotting at least, and we've just managed to get the first bite of the day. The rain has just started coming down, and just feels good to have a bend in the rod. And hopefully this could be the start of the fish coming onto the feed. It's always say you can't guarantee they're going to be in front of you on the day. So the saying is, from small acorns do mighty oaks grow, and hopefully this is the start of some of his brothers and sisters moving into the swim. That rain has just started to come down now, so how it'll affect the fishing, I don't know. So what I mean by the margins are fine, this river has already got water in it. So what I mean is that the margin for it being unfishable is small. If this river was low and clear, obviously it's going to take a lot more water to fill it. So, you know, a good downpour upstream could just push this river and the pace up and the colour to the point where you won't get a bite. That one chub, we're now going down the river with confidence, and hopefully if one can find it, there'll be one or two more. And you can just see there, we've been down this river for what, 40 minutes without a bite, and we've just gone down there twice and had two chub now, and this one's doing the same up that far bank. I'm coming across, I don't think it's massive again, but it just shows how it changes. You know, you've got to keep that bait coming in, going down that line, and the fish will hopefully come. And there we go, the second chub of the day. Just shows you just got to stick with it, and you can see how many maggots that's regurgitated. So it's been on the feed, it's been moving up the river, I think, and it's now within our range to catch it. Second chub of the day, more than made up. So one thing I do say about chub fishing is take your time, and that isn't the case today. Big pouches of bait, a different approach altogether. When a river rises, you get an influx of food coming off the trees, you know, off the ground, and that is what these fish will be used to. As the river rises, more food coming in, and that's what I'm trying to replicate with my feeding. A lot of bait going in, the river's rising, they're expecting a surge of bugs and stuff coming down the river, and that's what I'm trying to replicate. It's taken probably 10 minutes to get the next one, and that's normally what it can be like. You know, it does spook them when you catch them. Again, not massive, it might even be a dace, this one, but that is the norm. Normally when you're going down, you'll get one, the next casting two you might get another two more maybe, and then sometimes you just have to wait then for them to come back on the feed. And looks like another small little chub, another small little chublet. And notice again the lack of other species. You know, since that first frost, it's either chub, and if it was a bit clearer I think we'd get dace, but that's 3 chubs so far. and he is in mint condition. Certainly one for the future. So 3 chubs so far, more than made up with that. When I first arrived, I did notice a bit of colour to the river, and that smell really had me doubting whether or not we'd get a bite. But we're about an hour and a half into the session now, and say it took about 40 minutes to get the first one. And what we're hoping for now is that there's one of those, you know, proper 2-3 pound chub about. And this fish has just come right at the very back, and I mean right at the very back of the swim. The faintest of bites as well. It was almost a slow bite that you don't normally associate with a chub. But right at the very back of the swim. Like I always say, the ones at the back are the ones that get away with it. And he most certainly was lingering at the back. It doesn't matter how big those white lips are, when you see them in autumn coming up in the water, it's a happy time. So the 4th chub of the day are more than welcome. I say not the biggest in the world, but who knows what else is out there. More than made up with 4 chubs so far. When I smelt the river this morning, I say I have my doubts, but not the biggest. But if we get a few of these today, we'll have a nice net at the end, a nice bend in the rod. More than welcome. Let's get this fish straight back. So although them maggots being regurgitated everywhere isn't a nice thing to look at, from an angling point of view it's fantastic, because what it lets me know is the bait that I'm putting in there is getting all the way to the bottom of the swim. Now don't get me wrong, that chub could have moved up and moved down, but I caught him right down the back of the swim, and he wouldn't be down there if there wasn't any food about down there. He'd be up here where the food was. So that just lets me know that my bait is getting all the way through the swim, and if it's getting all the way down there, hopefully some of it's going further and beginning to draw fish from the area now onto this line. The 5th one of the day, and we'll have a few pound in that net already, I would imagine. But a beautiful chub. You can just see all the rays in its fins and the black in its tail. More than made up. Let's get this one straight back. So right down the back of the swim we've hooked into a much better fish, or at least it feels that way. It's right down. As you just saw there, we hooked into a much better fish right down the river, and it's come off. Now that is a worst case scenario. I said it time and time again on the vlog, and we very rarely, when I say it, you know, lose one during that vlog. Well, during this one it's happened, so we'll see how it affects the swim. A much smaller fish this time, and again maybe a sign that that lost chub has spooked the shoal of them. The fact that we've now picked up a dace and the smallest fish of the day. Well, it's taken probably about 30 or 40 minutes, I would say, and we've just hooked into another chub right down the swim again. That's probably the best one of the day, I reckon. And there we go, the best chub of the day, and the one that I lost felt similar type of size. Much better stamp than the ones we were getting earlier. Again, damage on this side, which again looks like cormorant damage, which shows that there's a healthy stock in the river, but also shows the battles that these fish face on a daily basis. Proper made up with that, and just shows, you know, when you lose that fish, 40 minutes to an hour to get another bite. Although we did have that dace, that again is a sign that the fish have backed off. And that is one moody sky, isn't it? At the moment I think it's just missing us, but that almost certainly is rain over there. I think we're just getting away with it at the moment. We got a bit of blue sky coming over as well. So the session comes to an end there now. As you can see, I've packed the gear away. This is probably the third shower that we've had in about half an hour. So in the gap, decided to pack the gear away. Been trotting away for probably 2 hours and not had a bite. As you can see there, the river has really sped up, but it hasn't got the colour, you know, that big drop of colour in it at the moment, but just that extra pace, and you know, losing that chub didn't help as well. As you can see on screen now, an enjoyable afternoon's fishing. Typical of the day, the biggest chub decided to jump clean off the mat at the end into the river, so we are missing one off that shot, but an enjoyable day by the bank. Nice relaxing fishing and chilling out. I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. Tight lines in your own fishing, and I'll catch us all next week. Tight lines.